So I'm making some special mama food here for Maya. The first thing, I've got these big marrow bones that I'm going to cook down and make some good marrow beef broth, or bone broth I should say. That's going to be our first step. Okay, so our next step is to get a Tina's 5-layer burrito and put that in because I'm hungry. I can't wait for that, so while cooking. Okay, then the next step, after about half an hour, is we want to start to skim off this scummy stuff that's on the top here. That's actually going to taste bad. I'm going to get some of that off, right? Get as much of that off as possible. Now, transfer that to sink. And then this part is really important. So we can leave it in here for 12 hours, or you can get impatient as I am. And I should have done this to begin with. We're putting it in the Instant Pot. Instead of leaving it on the stove for 12 hours, we're going to pressure cook it for 3. So I'm going to transfer these bones over right now with this liquid, and we're going to pressure cook the shit out of this for 3 hours. Okay, so it's transferred over, and I just put enough liquid in just to barely cover the bones so that the marrow is going to be coming out. That's what we want, is all that collagen, the marrow, and the goodness to come out. It's going to take about 3 hours instead of 12. We do have a little bit of leftover stock that's going to be in the pot. We'll mix back in together after we extract all the goodness from the bones here. So, Instapot. We're going to do the lid on with the about 3 hours on this. We'll come back and check on it. 15 minutes burrito break. Okay. We're going to let the steam naturally, we're going to let the pressure naturally come off of that. But while that's happening, after the 3-hour pressure cook, I'm going to do right here, I'm going to do a little, this is calf liver. And with the calf liver, I'm going to kind of do 2 things here with this. This is going to be liver water, and liver water is what generally you hear about this for fading puppies, for puppies that are having trouble gaining weight, struggling, weak puppies. And basically what it is just calf liver or beef liver, and a little bit of water. I've got 2 livers here, so there's probably, it's about 4 ounces, not even 4 ounces of water, but it's about 2 ounces of water per liver. And you heat that up and you simmer it for about 5 minutes, so 3 minutes on one side, 2 on the other, just at the point where it starts to draw out the liquid and the blood from the liver, all the iron, vitamin A, vitamin D, all the good minerals from the liver. And you actually don't use the liver for this part. You actually just use the water, the liquid that comes off of it. You rack that off, or that's beer brewing term. You dump that off, and you put that in a dropper, and 4 or 5 drops on the tongue of a puppy that's struggling, a weak puppy. And that's supposed to be kind of it's like an old-timer's miracle cure for fading puppy syndrome. So I'll do this for a little while, but what I'm going to do is I'll pull that liquid off. The puppies are great, they're healthy, but it won't hurt. It'll be a nice little treat for them to give them a few drops of that liver liquid. the liver water. And then I'm actually going to use the liver. I didn't want to cook it for 3 hours in the pressure cooker with the bones and the bone broth, but I'll end up cutting that up, and that's going to go into the bone broth that's going to be added to Mama's kibble, and that'll be a nice little treat for her. Okay, for the liver water, you see how the blood, I should have put a warning on this video, I guess, gruesome. See how the blood's coming out. That's what you want to see when you're making liver water for the puppies. Again, these guys don't need it, but since I'm doing the liver for Mama, I figured I would make this. You want to see that right there. See the blood, the juices coming out, and you don't want to go too much past this. And you kind of flip it back and forth, and I like to squeeze it out of there, get as much as possible out of the meat. Turn the heat off real quickly because you don't want to cook it too much past this. And then what we're going to do is strain that off because we don't need any of the fat bits or anything like that in it. We're just looking for the liquid, and cool that off, and we'll have that. We'll stick that in the fridge. We'll store that for the pups. Okay, so here is our little cup of liver water and our chopped up liver that we have from that, and then our pressure cooked marrow bones in the Instapot. And if anyone has an Instapot and you didn't know that the lid fits into the handle like that, it took me like 6 months to figure that out. It does. It's pretty cool. Anyway, I'm going to pull these out, and 3 hours of pressure cooking is worth like 12 hours of slow cooking or simmering these on the stovetop. So this is much better doing it this way. And I'll pull all of the marrow out of these guys. We'll get all that collagen goodness and mix it up and see what we have. Okay, so here's what it looks like so far. We'll get all the marrow out of there and all this juicy, yummy stuff. Obviously, this is bone broth, but I mean, if you were making this for a foe, you know, or even a friend, little dog food cooking humor there, you wouldn't do it like this. You'd want to get it all clarified, or not totally clarified, but you wouldn't want big chunks of collagen and goopy, yummy bits like that. But this is going to be mixing with regular kibble, hard-boiled eggs, pumpkin, and the supplements, kelp, and the greens and stuff that she normally gets. So I want all of that in there. And by the way, it just completely I just picked these bones up and everything just fell off of them. All the meat fell off and all the marrow fell out. So looking real good. But I got a little bit too much volume. So I am gonna cook that down with the top off. I've got one more thing besides the liver that we're gonna throw back in, and I think the liver water's cooled off. That will clarify some, and a little bit of solids to drop to the bottom, and we'll clarify that for the puppies and give them a little boost to that every once in a while. And I got one more special ingredient that I'm gonna add to this that you'll see in just a moment. So the next ingredient is venison rib ends, and I'm putting them in here, browning them with a little bit of coconut oil. A little bit more coconut oil, I should say. They're pretty lean, so we're going to add some more fat. We reduced the collagen mixture. You can actually rub this all over your face. Probably be good for you. People would not want to come around you. Coyotes and wolves might, but anyway, we're going to brown this up, and then we're going to chop that into little bits and pieces like we have our liver. We're going to throw that in, and that'll be a nice additive to Maya's food and be a good supplement for her. All right, so here we are. We have venison rib tips now and liver. That's the other ingredient that I was adding, was venison rib tips. Then we've got the collagen stew. It's the beef bone broth all the marrow cooking down in there, getting nice and concentrated at this point. And the interesting thing about the venison rib tips, I was opening up the package and I said, Erin says to me, where did those come from? I said, I think maybe it was someone at work that brought them in, right? And she actually says to me, oh, you know what that is? That's the Roadkill that Kyle gave to me at Christmas. She literally says that to me. So I crank up the heat and make sure that I cook them all the way, of course, because Kyle gave these, or this pack of venison rib tips from Roadkill. This is actually literally, I am not shitting you, 100% Roadkill. Evidently fresh Roadkill, but make sure to cook it all the way through. Plus it's going to get thrown back in and it's going to get chopped up really finely right now and then thrown back into our marrow broth here, gelatinous goo, and then we'll probably have a little leftover, so we're going to make some canned dog food with our Roadkill, literally Roadkill canned dog food. This should be interesting. All right, so I've chopped up the venison here, and of course we had the chopped liver as well. And you know, I got to thinking about this. This is Roadkill. I grew up in West Virginia, and despite all the jokes and stereotypes and everything, I have never in my life eaten Roadkill. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I didn't know we had Roadkill in the freezer. Well, we don't. We actually now have it in the goddamn dog food because that's what I'm cooking right now is Roadkill dog food. So here's my jars. Here's my Roadkill. Now, over here, this was supposedly came from a farm, this liver, in Pennsylvania as well. But because they've got this Roadkill law that if you kill it, you can throw it in the back of your goddamn Buick and take it home and eat the stuff. I don't know if this was taken off the farm or taken off of Highway 64. So either way, I'm going to throw it back in our little collagen stew over here and cook it for another good bit to wash all the tar and the oil and the gasoline off of it so that it's good eating for Maya and makes some good dog food. So anyway, this has now become Roadkill Dog Food Cooking 101. Welcome back to Killing with Chevys and Cooking with Heavies. No, fuck, take two. Welcome back to Killing with Fords and Cooking with Lords. That's no good. Welcome back to Killing with Lamborghinis and Roadkill Panini. That'll do. All right, and the finished product here, Roadkill Dog Food. Be nice and nutritious for mama. One thing I learned is this stuff should be like $10 a can. Like if you're buying it for any cheaper than that, it's a good deal. If it's made like this, they probably don't make it like this. They probably don't pick their meat up off the side of the road. But anyway, even with free meat, $10 a can is a good deal. So, bon appetit.